What is up, YouTube? It is Baseball Nerd back with another MLB video. In today's video, we're going to be going over my MLB 2021 awards predictions. I'm going to go over the MVP, Cy Young, Rookie of the Year, even the Reliever of the Year and Manager of the Year for 2021 and kind of project who we think will finish in the top 4 or 5. And obviously the main one being who wins each award. So yeah, let's get right into it. I think this will be a lot of fun. Let me know what you guys think down below, who you would pick for each award. There's tons of guys that could win any of these awards so on any given year. So I think this will be really fun to do, but let's get right into it. Starting off, let's get the manager off the board right away. For the NL, I have the San Diego Padres skipper, Jace Tingler. I think he could have won it last year, and I think they're going to be back in the playoffs this year with an even better team. So I think he could definitely be a shoo-in for the award in the NL. And then in the AL, I have the Toronto Blue Jays manager, Charlie Montoyo. I think he could definitely win it. They made the playoffs last year. It was a shortened season, but they made some key upgrades, mainly with George Springer, Marcus Semien. And obviously Kirby Yates has already been hurt and Nate Pearson's been hurt. But I think if they have a bounce back year and make it into the playoffs, that it'll be a very big feat for them. And I think he could go down as manager of the year in the AL. For reliever of the year, I'm going to give my top 4 for the AL and the NL and run through it really quick. In the AL, I'm starting off at number 4. I have Aroldis Chapman of the New York Yankees. At number 3, I had Nick Anderson of the Tampa Bay Rays, but we just found out he's hurt, and it could be a pretty big deal. So missing that much time, depending on how long it is, I'm going to skip him for now. But instead, at number 3, we're going to put in Trevor Rosenthal, the newly acquired closer for the Oakland A's. He had a short hiccup in spring training, but he's back out there on the mound, so I think he'll be fine. At number 2 and 1, we have teammates. But the first one I'm going with at number 2 is Garrett Crochet. He had a great year last year coming up. He's young. He throws really hard from the left side. I just have one guy being better than him in the AL, and that is his teammate, the closer for the Chicago White Sox, Liam Hendriks. He's definitely a little older, not that old by any means, but older than some of these other young guys coming up like Nick Anderson, Crochet, Devin Williams, a lot of these younger pitchers. But, you know, I think he's still got a couple more years of elite closing in him, so this year I have him down as my AL reliever of the year. Moving on to the NL, which would be his second year winning it for the AL. Just got to point that out. Moving on to the NL, coming in at number 4, I have Jordan Hicks of the St. Louis Cardinals. I think he's going to bounce back this year and have a great year after missing last year. I think he'll be their closer in no time and take over that role and be a beast for them. Number 3, I have Brad Hand moving over to the Washington Nationals. I think he led the league, or at least AL, last year in saves for the Indians. I know it was a shortened season, but I think he'll have a great year for the Washington Nationals, who improved their team all around. At number 2, we have another 1-2 punch that's from the same team, but I switched the young gun with the more established veteran. So Josh Hader coming in at number 2 for the Milwaukee Brewers. He's been lights out for a while now, and I think he's going to be one of the better closers in baseball. But Devin Williams, man, at number 1, he won reliever of the year last year and rookie of the year for the NL. He was just a beast, and watching him in spring training, that screwball and his changeup and stuff, he's still so nasty with all his off-speed pitches. I think he's going to have another great year for the Milwaukee Brewers. Moving on to Rookie of the Year, we're going to start off in the AL. At number 5 for Rookie of the Year, I have Ryan Mountcastle of the Orioles. Number 4, Bobby Witt Jr. I know he's supposed to start off the season in the minors, but if he gets called up, he hit .289 in spring with 3 home runs and .851 OPS. He looked like a stud. He plays shortstop. I think he could have a very good rookie year. Finish round 4. Casey Mize at number 3. He was the number 1 overall pick in 2018. He didn't have a great 2020 for his first call-ups, but I think he's going to be really good. He's been one of the top prospects every year for a while now, and he looks like a beast. Number 2, Jared Kellenick of the Seattle Mariners. Number 4 overall prospect. In spring training, he hit .333, a 256 OPS, 2 home runs, and only 1 strikeout through spring training. He looked really good. Everyone's hyping him up a lot. He looks like a stud. Got traded as a prospect over to from the Mets to the Mariners, and now is filling out their outfield with Kyle Lewis, Julio Rodriguez, and stuff. I don't know if he will start off the season in the show. I think he'll probably start off in the minors. There's already been debates about service time manipulation and stuff with them, with the tweets and stuff from their old GM. So I don't know what will happen, but I do think he'll make his way up to the show this year and be a stud. But number 1, the man, Randy Arozarena. 2020 postseason alone, in 20 games, he had 10 home runs, 29 hits, 14 RBIs. And that's only 20 games in a postseason against the best of the best. I think he's not obviously going to average that in every 20 games from here on out, but I do think he'll be one of the better players in baseball and be one of the best rookies and win Rookie of the Year in the AL. But moving on to the NL, I have at number 5, Christian Pasha of the Atlanta Braves. Number 4, Ian Anderson of the Atlanta Braves. Had a great year and postseason for the Braves last year. Coming in at number 3, another pitcher in the NL East, Sixto Sanchez. Great year for the Miami Marlins. Think he'll be their ace this year. Number 2, I only didn't put him at number 1 because I like the guy at number 1 just a little bit more. And I think Brian Hayes will be a beast next year, but he's on the Pittsburgh Pirates. A little less protection in the lineup and, a little more pressure put on him to maybe hold up some of the offensive downs they may have next year. So that's why I have Brian Hayes at number 2, but the talent's definitely there. Number 1 for the NL Rookie of the Year, I have Dylan Carlson winning that award. I'm a big Dylan Carlson guy. I think he's going to step up a big time this year. He didn't have a great 2020, but I'm really high on him, and I think the Cardinals are going to need him, especially with hearing that Harrison Bader is going to be out to start the season. I think he's going to have to carry at least some of the offensive power in that outfield, and he has Arenado and Goldschmidt and some other guys to help teach him and also protect him in that lineup. Moving on to the Cy Young Award, starting off in the NL at number 5, I have Jack Flaherty of the Cardinals. I think he's going to be kind of like Dylan Carlson, going to step up to fill a big role for the Cardinals, being their ace and trying to push them all the way through into and hopefully further into the playoffs. At number 4, I have Yu Darvish after being traded to the Padres. I think he's going to get better defense and offense to support him. He's going to be part of a really good staff. I think he's going to be their ace, and he could have won the Cy Young last year in the COVID season, but Trevor Bauer, obviously, as we know, won it. So I think he'll come back and definitely finish at least in the top 4 next year in Cy Young. Coming in at number 3, another guy maybe overshadowed by Trevor Bauer, Luis Castillo. Sonny Gray had a really hot start last year. Trevor Bauer had a really good year, and Luis Castillo kind of fell off to the wayside, but he had a really good year last year too. He had an insane season, so I think, being there without Trevor Bauer maybe and just him and Sonny Gray and stuff, he might stand out a little bit more and have an even better season. Coming in at number 2, I have Walker Bueller. He had an insane postseason for the Dodgers last year, was just a lights-out pitcher all around. I think he's the best pitcher on their staff, and I think he's going to have give a really good run to the guy who I have coming in at first for the Cy Young to maybe push that guy out of the way, but I don't see it happening. Number 1's got to be Jacob Degrom. He's just the best pitcher in baseball, flat out. This is, I don't think it's really debatable at this point. There's a lot of good pitchers, but Jacob Degrom is the best pitcher in baseball. So through the spring training, he's got a .66 ERA. He's pitched in 4 games, only 13 2/3 innings, but he's given up 6 hits, 1 run, and it was on 1 home run. He's given up 3 walks, and he struck out 21 people. He's just doing Jacob Degrom stuff. I know it's spring training, and it doesn't matter too much, but the dude's a beast. I think he's going to lock in for Cy Young yet again. Moving on to the AL, though, working at their Cy Young conversation, we have coming in at number 5, Tyler Glasnow. I think, losing Blake Snell and Charlie Morton will hurt a little bit, and I think he might have gotten a little help from them last year, and being the ace on the staff might make it a little more difficult for him, but he's still got the stuff. He throws hard. He just got to work a little bit on that control, and I think he dials it in at least a little bit this next year and finishes top 5. Number 4, Hyun-Jin Ryu. He had a great year last year. I think he's still the ace in that Blue Jays rotation, and he's definitely underrated. I think he'll have another great year in 2021. Moving into number 3, Lucas Giolito. I'm big on the White Sox. I think he's going to be a big pivotal part in that rotation and that team. Threw a no-hitter last year, and I think he's just going to continue to have success and have a great 2021. Number 2 is our former last year 2020 COVID season AL Cy Young winner, Shane Bieber. I think the Indians, definitely always have pitching. He looked really good this year, or 2020 and 2019. I think he'll be a beast, kind of like I said in the NL with Walker Bueller. I think he'll give this number 1 person a run for their money. He just won't beat them out for it. And at number 1, I have Garrett Cole. I think he almost could have won. In my opinion, I thought he was the better pitcher when Justin Verlander won the Cy Young over him in 2019. He was just insane, over 300 strikeouts, and I believe he'll do something very similar to that this year in a full season with the Yankees looking really, really good on paper, and I think he'll carry that pitching staff with all the question marks they have and win the AL Cy Young. He's finished 4th, 2nd, and 5th the last 3 years in Cy Young voting, so I think this will be the year he finally gets his Cy Young. Moving on to the MVP voting, I'm going to start off in the NL, but before I do this, I want to preface this with saying there's a lot of really good players that could have made this list. When I was going through the top 5, I wanted to put like 20 people. So many guys I love that I think are underdogs. I didn't include last year's MVP in the AL or the NL. I think Bellinger and Harper, who's, spoiler alert, didn't make my top 5, are going to have really good years this year. I think they're both going to have amazing, maybe MVP type of years. I just have these guys because this is what I felt like and I thought would make a fun yet realistic list. So let's get right into it and start off with the NL MVP. At number 5, I have Mookie Betts. I don't think he's ever going to miss the top 5 in MVP unless he's hurt or something like that. And I think he'll probably finish around top 3. And he always has a chance to win it any given year. So don't take that too harshly. But number 4, I have Fernando Tatis Jr. And at number 3, I have Ronald Acuna. I think they're both young studs. They're getting better progressively every year. I just don't think they're going to beat the 2 guys in front of them. I think they're both going to be on a mission, my number 1 and my number 2. So I think Tatis Acuna are going to be one of the better players, top 5 obviously in the NL. In my opinion, I just don't think they're going to win or come in second for MVP. At number 2, I have another guy, like I said, with Belly that I think is going to bounce back and have a monster year. That's Christian Yelich. I think he's going to have a 2019-ish year for him. Spring training so far, he's hitting .450 with a 1.542 OPS, 3 home runs. He's looking great at the plate. I think he'll have a monster year. The only guy I see above him this next year is Juan Soto. He's the closest guy we're seeing to Mike Trout. Recent years, everyone tries to say, this is the guy right behind Mike. This is the guy that's, taking Mike's spot. This is the new number 1. This is the face. This is Judge. This is Tatis. That's great and all, but Juan Soto has to be the closest hitter, if not around Mike Trout's caliber. He's just insane at the plate. In 2020, he hit .351 with a .490 OBP, which was the league's best, a 1.185 OPS, 13 home runs, 41 walks to 28 strikeouts. He walks a good amount. He has a great eye, great discipline, doesn't strike out a whole lot, still brings the pop, has a good average. He does it literally all of it at the plate. Like I said, he's the closest thing to Mike Trout. And could beat out Mike Trout in the next couple of years, the best player in baseball. But let's not go there yet. I'm just going to give him the NL MVP for now in 2021. But moving on to the AL MVP, I got to go with this guy at number 5. And his team made some big upgrades this offseason with Marcus Semien and George Springer, who have finished top 3 and top 7 in MVP votings in recent years, respectively. But I'm not going to go with them. I got to go with my man Bo Bichette. He looks great in spring training. The other day he had 2 bombs in 1 game. 75 career games is his only hit, I guess, but career-wise in those 75 games, he's hitting .307 with an .896 OPS. He's got 16 bombs, around 75 strikeouts, so he strikes out around where most of the guys have been striking out, maybe a little more, whatever. But he's gotten really good defense at shortstop. He has the average, he has the pop, and I think with his first full year in the show, he could really ball out this year. Number 4, I have Jose Ramirez of the Cleveland Indians. I think he's underrated, one of the better third basemen in the game, and I don't think Francisco Lindor leaving is going to hurt him too much, giving him protection in the lineup. I think he's going to have a really good year for the Indians. Number 3, I have Shohei Ohtani. Spring trainings looks great for Shohei, and I just think if we see him really pitch and hit like he can or has in Japan, that we could see something very special that can launch him into the top 3 MVP votes. He's throwing like 101, 102. That's what he's topping out at, not averaging. That's not what he's sitting at. But anyway, if a guy can sit on the mound and throw 101 miles per hour, he's got 14 Ks in 8 innings. ERA is a little high, but he's had some very suspect defense in the outfield with Joe Adell and Justin Upton making some questionable plays, even Dexter Fowler behind him that have cost him runs. So not too harsh on that part of it. But even without the pitching man, even if he does somehow get shut down from that, he's hitting .571 right now with 5 home runs and 8 RBIs. We've seen him do big stuff at the plate after having a bad spring training. So if he had a great spring training, I can't wait to see what he does this year. Number 2 is a guy that I've never been a huge fan of, but I'm starting to warm up more to, and that's Aaron Judge. The dude's rookie year, the more I looked at it, is just insane. 52 bombs, 114 RBIs. He hit .284 with a 1.049 OPS. I think if he can play 135 games around there, that he could finish with 35 or more home runs, 105 or more RBIs, around a 280 average, and around a 900 to 1,000 OPS, which would be insane. The health is the big question, but if he's healthy, I think he'll finish top 3 or 5, and I'm putting him at number 2 on my list. The only guy I have above him is, in my opinion, the best player in baseball, Mike Trout. I don't think we can put him or bet on anyone to beat him, kind of like I thought with Jacob Degrom in the NL Cy Young. I'm not going to put anyone above him, even though he can obviously lose and not win the Cy Young. Mike Trout could not win MVP, but he finishes top 5 almost every year since, you know, his second season in the league. 2020 he had a 1.8 WAR, 17 home runs, 281 average, and a 993 OPS. And he came out saying it was a down year. He felt bad. He didn't feel like he played very well. He had his kid, he had COVID, he had things on his mind, and that he even came out and said, I've kind of figured out some stuff in the last few days during spring training that I've been really struggling with this last year. And so he's feeling like he's going to have a great year at the plate, and he's worked on some stuff that's been messing with him. So if he had a 281 average and 17 home runs, a 993 OPS, and about 50 games, then I want to see him in 162 games and see him really go off and prove people wrong. And he's been doing great defensively. I keep seeing the talk about Soto and Tatis and all these other people passing Trout up. I hope he comes out and really shows people that he's still, you know, not done playing baseball and being the best in the league. So those are my 2021 MLB Awards predictions. I hope you guys enjoyed them. I want to see what you guys would predict down below. So if you have your own predictions for any of these or all of these, let me know down below. If you like some of my predictions, if you don't like some of them, let me know. Like I said, there's so many guys that could win these. We have no idea. Somebody could come up that I wouldn't have even put in my top 20 and win MVP or Cy Young. We never know. So I hope you guys liked the video, though. As always, please like, subscribe, and turn on the notifications. I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.